My nail literally just broke in half.
Billing Hussein and Chanel first, looking immaculate. Fendi shoes to check the mailbox. Bitch, I'm accurate.
Alright, y'all. Well, I am doing the dishes again for the third time today, but Jay was gonna go in today. It is feeling kind of like a weekend, honestly, y'all. And yeah, I might have to do my nails over too. I was really liking these little duck tips too, because I really wanted some. But yeah, you guys, as y'all see by the title, you already know what we're gonna be talking about today. And yeah. So if y'all are new to my channel, welcome, Dom Fam. So or XL Gang, whichever one. Let me know in the comments down below which one y'all like, Dom Fam or XL Gang. Cause y'all, if y'all don't know, my channel is Domtastic XL. But yeah, you guys, as y'all can see by the title, y'all know what we're gonna be talking about today. Here, let me go ahead and get these few little dishes out real quick so I can load these in and everything. I couldn't forget, my daughter had to go. I was making her some milk as well, you guys, while she in there watching Bleepy. Y'all notice it's quiet for a second. Let's not say that word too fast, because y'all know that is a rarity. If y'all watch me in my house, it is a rarity that it's quiet. Jay is asleep. He chose to take the day off today. He was going to pick up. Then he was like, we'll see, So, we'll just see. He might go in tomorrow or whatever, though. But, yeah, you guys, I am off for a full week. I don't have to start classes, which this video is leading up to. I'm not done yet. I still got to load the dishwasher, y'all, but I'm almost done with it. And I don't have to do pretty much anything until June or July 6th. So, yay, yippee. I don't know what to do with myself, but yeah, you guys, this video is about to start off with me doing a little bit of dishes, and then I'm gonna be sitting at the table for a little bit. But yeah, you guys, as y'all see, like I said by the title, y'all already know, sorry about the noise, what we gonna be talking about. And I don't know, if anybody else, whoever's watching this, is going for business, and maybe going for business for the first time. Maybe you started college, you going back, like me. But this is something that they don't tell you. They don't always tell you. Something that I didn't know about, and maybe y'all don't know about. I don't know. But if you are going to school for the first time, if you are taking business for a major, going to school for business, whatever, y'all wanna listen up to this. So, I before had some college, y'all, like, some college experience. I had a trade too, which was in the healthcare field, but, and I did that for 12 years. And as far as hold on, y'all. Okay, y'all, now that I'm done with everything, that's better. Now the dishes and all that stuff is taken care of. All right, you guys, so like I was saying, if you are taking this class for the first time, or maybe you're just going back to school and you feel kind of out of the loop of things, that's how I feel. I feel a little, not necessarily older in my class, but I've been there, done that kind of thing, and this is not my first rodeo when it comes to going to college and stuff like that, I'll say. It is my first rodeo, however, with doing online classes. I know these lashes kind of looking I tried the little clusters, you guys. So, and yeah, these glasses. So, but yeah, you guys. So yeah, this is not my first rodeo when it comes to like I said, college and stuff like that. And if you've been down that road a couple times and now you're you're older, you're more serious and stuff. But let's say you're taking business like me. These are some of the things that you might want to look out for. I am like halfway through my degree plan and stuff. I actually just finished up my computer applications with lab. So right now I'm going to be moving on to accounting, and then after that I would be doing business and leadership. So yeah, you guys, yeah, so up until that point, let's say you really don't know what to expect. I go to DeVry. That's where I go to school at online. Is DeVry University. I know some people may have their mixed emotions with that, but if you're going to DeVry like me, then yeah, definitely want to look out for just some things that they're gonna have you do or may have you do. I don't know your it depends on too how many credits you already had or transferable credits that you may have. That's one thing you got to consider. So if you're pretty much starting from scratch, you won a couple times but you never really completed any classes, you're gonna have to go through the whole pretty much 9 yards. So obviously you're going to build some credits and stuff like that up. If you're not a good test taker and stuff like that, depending on how high, because you have to take like a little mini entrance kind of test. It's not really a test. It's really kind of more just to see where you are, your level. It's not a pass or fail kind of test, but it's more of a to see where you are. You may have to take classes like before you start your college classes. I did have to do a few of them myself, I'll be honest. I didn't start straight off right in college classes. Depending on how high you score, you pretty much can go right into your college classes. And so it pretty much depends on how high you score on that test. They go off of points there. They do a point system there at DeVry if you're thinking about going to DeVry or whatever. But some colleges, a lot of colleges, are different. So, but their points, go like that. They do have a letter grade, but it goes off of points. And yeah, that's pretty much how my course went. Like I said, I had to work myself up to the college. Now I am in college classes. So this is, yeah. That was one thing I didn't know, that I was going to have to take that. I'm thinking, I paid for it and stuff like that. Yeah, they which is pretty good though, because I know when I went to go before my trade, I thought that I wanted to go along the nursing route, so I was gonna go for LPN. And the school that I was gonna go to for that, it was a pass or fail. Like you have to take the test to see if you can even get in the class. That's how some of them are set up. So this one was great for me, and I think this is why I stuck. If you're a person that just don't do good in school, basically is what I'm saying. Sometimes online classes, or you're older, so like I said, you're kind of out of the loop, like 30 plus maybe, and you may be out of the loop is what I'm getting to. Online may be your best bet. You can go at your own pace. So sometimes, especially when you have kids and everything, sometimes that can kind of be your better route. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. That's what I did. I worked for my daughter. She's 2. I worked for almost a year after I had her, and then pretty much I've been a stay-at-home mom ever since, and going to school. So it obviously hasn't been an easy journey, but I know I didn't want to work the healthcare field any longer, so I needed something that was going to allow me some flexibility, but allow me to be able to go back to school, to be able to find something that I really was interested in. The healthcare field became a burnout for me. I didn't see any room for growth for me in it. Like I said, the test, it was hard enough for me to get into, that class, just to become an aide, as far as in, like CNA and stuff like that. And it could have been a school I went to, or it could have been maybe I just wasn't, at that time I was younger, much younger. I was about 20, so 21, something like that. So I definitely wasn't really, I just wanted something quick, money, money, money. That's pretty much where I was when I, so that was kind of how I thought too. I pretty much worked a lot. And now I'm like, I see work is not going to get you all, just working, working, working and not investing in yourself. That saying is not really, it don't get you all what you want. So now, I'm at a point where, yeah, I'm back at school. And it's been, you really have to make sure that your mindset is right for it. You have to really want it, so it's something that, if you're a person that procrastinate, obviously, like I said, doing, I started out part-time. I didn't, jump into full-time classes because that, I knew that that was going to discourage me. I also tend to get overwhelmed. So I knew that also, that is another thing that I looked out for when I decided to take online classes. Um, and I don't have to leave my home. Pretty much as long as you got a laptop, you don't really have to pay for anything. Obviously, they take financial aid, so that's great. If you're a person that, you're low on income, you can't really afford to pay out of pocket. But, let's say you didn't really burn out your loans, or your financial aid and stuff like that, grants. You can apply for that FAFSA. And they take that and, they go off of sessions as far as in how their weeks go for schooling. They go sessions, so it starts like week 1, week 2, week 3, and most of the courses go up to 8 weeks, and that's considered a session. So that's how that goes. My accounting class that I'm going to be taking starting July 6th, though, that is going to be a 2-month. So it's going to be 16 weeks instead. So, or I'm sorry, it's going to be 2 sessions. So it's going to be 16 weeks instead of their usual 8 weeks. If that makes sense. So it just depends on the class. And I will be going full time in September. That's why I said, if you guys noticed in the beginning, if you're still watching, I'll be taking the my business course as well as my leadership course. So that's, I'll be going full time. I did talk, they have counselors and stuff like that, advisors rather, that you could talk to, schedule appointments. They really are resourceful. And a lot of the advisors there have already went their self for schooling, or some of them are students just like you. And they give you their honest opinion, like if you need help with something, if you can't decide on your schedule, or if you're having like a dilemma, a personal problem at home or something, they're there to walk you through it. I had a situation where I thought that recently, honestly, that I was going to have to drop my classes midway, and this is something I did not know, but I'm going to share with you guys. Now I know that if you're getting financial aid, they bill a couple weeks. They bill 2 sessions in advance. So, like I said, mind you, it's 1 session is 8 weeks. So they bill you for 2. So it's like they're billing you for 2, two. It's like 2 semesters basically. Excuse me, in advance. If I'm not mistaken, that's how that goes. So if you withdraw a class before they give you the first week to see how a class is going or so like that. And let's say you're just having a hard time with the class, or you don't have the resources you need for that class, or let's say you're just, something's going on, or, something unexpected comes up. They really want you to try to push through, but they will let you drop within that first week without any penalties, is basically what I'm getting to. Anything after that, is penalties involved. You can possibly lose your financial aid or grant or something like that if that's what you're using to pay for schooling. That can be affected. So that's something to look out for too. Obviously, things come up. You can always reach out to your professor and stuff like that. Just let them know what's going on. And sometimes if they're nice enough, they'll drop. They can drop you without being as harsh of a penalty. And then obviously you have to take the class over if it's along your going along your route for your degree plan. And here, let me see. That is something that I learned after the fact, but luckily things worked out for me, so I was able to get through and finish that off. Um, and I noticed there though. I don't know. Maybe it's me. With me though. I know that when I went to community college, like I said, when I was much younger, like 19, 18, 19, I had more, because at that time I was doing financial aid grant for sure. Now it's a little mix of, because I went to school so many times, so now it's a mix of, grant, a little bit of financial aid and, some paying costs too. And I had more, money going to community college because it was more cost, I guess, when you're going to community college versus online. They pretty much bill exactly what you need, and if you have a little left over, they send it. So I didn't really have see as much coming back to me as I did when I went to community college. That's one thing to look out for too. So if you're expecting like this big financial growth, or you can always borrow a bigger loan, but keep in mind that's what you gotta also pay back. So, yeah, college in general, I wish I would have used my financial aid money a little wiser when I was younger, or just not used it at all. Like my brother, he didn't go that route, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Like if he decided to go back to school, he's older, so I'm sure he'll he would use just what he needs. But he does management anyways, so he pretty much like is doing kind of what I want to do now anyways. So yeah. And that's my little brother, which is kind of embarrassing, but it is what it is. I'm going now, so that's just those are some things that I would say they do. What every class there for their attendance policy. If you decide to go online, they do. You got a post in there. It's called a discussion post for DeVry, is what I'm saying. At least it's called a discussion post. And which you would have to post at least twice a week. Some professors require you to post up to 3, meaning you'll respond to like some of your classmates or something like that, and that will be counted as a post to a discussion post. And that's how they monitor your attendance in there. You have to post once within every 7 days, or you could be dropped from that class, and that's penalties, of course, as well. So usually like once the class start, they usually start the new week, like week 1, week 2 is what I mean. Got you guys in a session. They usually start that every Sunday. So I try to get my post in every Sunday, and I forgot if they go by Mountain Time or something like that. I know where I am is Eastern Time here, so we're like I think we're like 2 hours. Their time is 2 hours behind my time, basically. So let's say I submit a post at 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, let's say I submit a post at 9 o'clock at night. It's gonna show in their system as 7 o'clock at night, if that makes sense. So just keeping that in mind. If you also go off of Eastern time, that's how they post. They like their posts. They like the work to be submitted in by 11:59. So that would be 11:59 if you're in Eastern time. 11:59 Eastern time, you might want to have that post in by then. Your first post, if it's on Sunday, and that just keeps you up to it, not getting behind. And depending on how heavy your workload is with your class or course, that's a good way to stay in check. At least if you're getting your discussion posts in, the attendance. That's easy. That's pretty easy points right there. Because like I said, mind you, they go off a point system. So that's easy points alone by itself. Just to do like those 2 or 3 posts that you're asking for. It's usually answering or responding to a question that your professor put in there. And you know, do a little research. You know, they do like you to what is it? Guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure I got my wording right. They do like you to basically like if you're getting references off the internet and stuff, they like you to source that. You know, make sure that you got your paper trail. So you know, if that makes sense. I can't even think of the word for it right now, but I'll think of it after I'm done recording this video, of course. But make sure you got the proof and stuff like that for it. So if you're getting information off this website, you know, so you're not doing plagiarism basically, y'all. So they're pretty big on that, and they will expel you from there, or you can be dropped from there, you know, from their not going to school there anymore, because they take that seriously. I'm sure a lot of colleges do that though. They don't want you to use plagiarism. They would like you to use your own words or use sources, you know, make sure that you're giving credit where it's due, basically. So, yeah, that was the first time I ever seen it up front. When I went to community college, it wasn't told to me. I mean, I already knew about plagiarism, obviously, and not to use that, but it wasn't told to me until I started going to DeVry online. And what is another thing that it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's easy. I feel like if you're a person that get overwhelmed very easily, I would start out part-time and see how you like it. That's pretty much how I did it. And you know, once you get comfortable and get a routine with school going and everything, and make sure it's fitting good with your home life and stuff, then see about easing to full-time. If you need help building your schedule or anything like that, or suggestions on what classes you should take next or courses, talk to your advisor. Is always the best thing. And they'll help you out with that kind of stuff. Make sure it makes sense with you, and make sure it makes sense for your degree plan. It's a pretty straightforward program. Another thing that I learned too, for the people that maybe go there and did not know this, you can test out of some, you know, classes as well. So that is an option too. If you have classes that are able to, you know, that you're able to test out of, you can test out of them. And that means you won't have to take that class. If you pass that test, you won't have to take that class. And that's something good to know too. Like, you know, especially if you have like a lot of credit hours, you know, that you need, or credits that you need. That's you know, if you could test out of a few of them, why not? You know, that's less that you have to do. So that is some of the things, you guys. I'm sure it's more, and I would definitely wouldn't mind sharing more if you guys were thinking about that. If you guys like this video, because this is the part 1 pretty much. If you guys like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with anybody else that may be thinking about going to DeVry, or if you thought about going to DeVry but you just don't know how they work. This is from somebody who is going to DeVry online, and I'm just giving y'all some of the, you know, the rundown. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, especially on school and stuff like that. I will definitely do my best to try to answer those questions, or get the answers from, you know, for you guys for those questions. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much some of the things that, you know, I learned the hard way, or I learned or wish I knew before I went to school, or some things that I wish that I would have, you know, did differently before going back to college. Or, you know, it is definitely something that you want to make sure you don't want to be half in and half out. when you're going to college in general. I know, you want to, don't go just because, oh yeah, for me, I felt like it wasn't a, if you like school, you'll do good anyways. But if you're a person that you're doing it because you want to make other people happy, or you're doing it because this or that, or you feel forced, you don't even know what you want to go to school for, or you're doing it just because the financial aid sounds good, or you're doing it just because you don't want to work, or whatever the reason. If you're doing it for any of those kind of reasons, it's not gonna work. You have to be in it. You have to really be in it. And I'm not saying you have to get the best grades, and you have to be the best test taker or anything like that, but you don't want to be half in it and half out. I mean, I'm telling you, I've been there, done that. If you're going, you want to be in it. You want to have a clear mind. You want to make sure that you know what you're doing. You want to know what program you're going for. You want to really have it, kind of somewhat planned out. I didn't know what I was going to school for before. Now I do. After 12 years of spending a trade, spending 12 years in a field using a trade that I did not want to do. And if you would have asked me when I first graduated high school, is that what I wanted to do? I wouldn't have told you. I didn't know what CNA was at first. I didn't know what it was being and working in the healthcare field or any of that stuff. I bet you I learned though. I learned, and not to say that I wasted 12 years, but had I knew exactly what I was signing myself up for, I probably would have waited, and I probably would have, picked something else. I was doing customer service before that. I probably would have stuck doing customer service versus getting myself into a field that I know wasn't set up for me. So now that I know what I want to go to school for, and it just aligns well, you can use that for a lot of things. Business is not just for, oh, I have to run and start my own business. You can do a lot of different things with a business degree. So do your own research. Obviously, if this is what you guys were thinking about doing, if you were thinking about going to school for business yourself. And these tools can be used for other colleges. Obviously, it doesn't have to do focus just on DeVry. I'm just giving you guys examples for anybody who might have been considering going to DeVry. This is just some of their rules, policies, some things to look out for. I hope you guys like this video, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and if you want more, a part 2, or if you have any more questions, comment them down below. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.